Dr. Brittany Garcia. We are recording this meeting just for your information, if that's okay with everyone. We're very excited to have Dr. Brittany Garcia with us today to give a presentation on student health and wellness. She's the Associate Vice President for the Department of Student Health and Wellness. So take it away, Dr. Garcia.
Thank you to both Alexandras for inviting me today. I see some friendly faces on the Zoom today, so welcome everybody. Today I just wanted to give a brief overview as to the services provided by the student health fee and specifically student health and wellness, because I do have departments outside of the health fee, just to give everyone an overview, those watching live and those that might replay this video later on, to hopefully give you a better understanding as to all of the services that your student dollars go to, both during regular times and even during these strange COVID times. So I just wanted to start off with a mission statement here. I know, mission statements tend to be written and put on a shelf, but for us, it's very important to have a living, breathing document to kind of guide our approach to student health and wellness. So for those of you that might be on your phone and can't see the screen, I'll read it for you quickly. FIU Student Health and Wellness aims to support the overall well-being of students. Healthy Panthers, which is currently, it's a working draft of a name that we're calling the program, is a multifaceted approach, including services, programs, trainings, and campaigns that will educate, engage, and empower the university community to sustain lifelong health and wellness. When I took over this position last year, almost a year ago in July, I took over several units that used to have standalone directors and had different AVPs over them. So it was really important to work with all of those units to try to have a cohesive goal, because everybody really was working as a silo, just by the nature of the structure at the time. So we felt it was really important to focus our efforts on the education and engagement of our student body. Just to share a little bit about me personally and my philosophy around student health and wellness. So I have been at the university as an employee for 15 years. I spent 14 of those years in the office of the president. So I worked 5 years for President Maydick and just under 10 years for President Rosenberg, until I accepted Dr. Behar's offer to lead this new department last year. I'm a 3-time grad of FIU, and my brother and my sister are current students. So I really try to take my leadership approach from many angles, right? I'm an alum, I'm an employee, I'm a pseudo parent. So I understand the challenges that all of our students face, and I really try my best to make decisions taking all of those perspectives in mind. So because of that, I take a very broad approach. Typically, when you go to universities across the country, you think about health and wellness, and 2 things come to mind. It's the clinics and the counseling center, right? Which tend to have standalone buildings. However, for me, it's really important to understand that well-being for students is much broader than that, right? It's about a student's financial insecurity, food insecurity, their spiritual wellness. All of those components make us a whole person, right? So how can we work better and smarter with departments across campus to be able to stretch your dollar as much as we possibly can, even though some of those programs might not directly report to me? So the dimensions of wellness is something that's very well known across campuses, internationally. It's usually about 7 or 6 dimensions that universities take. For us, it was very important to expand on the dimensions. So it's a total of 9. And one of the critical ones that we added was cultural, right? Given our diverse population, whether it's diverse in race or gender or ethnicity or religious backgrounds, or self-identity of students, right? Culture has a really big part to play in who we are as FIU Panthers. So because of that, we added that to make sure that we always have cultural competency in mind when we're making decisions about our services and our programs. So this model is something that we have slowly been rolling out throughout our events and throughout our programming. So you might start seeing this a little bit more. Eventually we're working on a brand new website also that we're really looking forward to. So you'll be seeing a lot of the taglines and the drill down of the hot buttons focusing around these dimensions of wellness, but I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get into the marketing section. So just a quick overview of who my leadership team is, so you understand a little bit about the our structure. So obviously I'm the AVP. I report directly to Dr. Behar, who is our Senior Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs. And under me are 5 direct reports, now 6, because Amy Castillo, who I see is on the call today, has just joined our team as well. So Dr. Lennick, he oversees our counseling and psychological services department. Dr. Aaron oversees our victim empowerment program. Mariela Gabaroni oversees health promotion services. HPS includes programs like Healthy Living, which I know is probably the name most of you know, and also the health IT team and the health compliance folks. So, for those of you that maybe are freshmen and we're asking you for immunizations, the health compliance team is the one that's trying to keep all of you healthy and safe. Then Dr. Pelaez is our Dean of Students, and under her is the care coordination team and the Student Conduct and Academic Integrity Office. So she has a really big part to play in terms of, keeping everyone safe. And then Vanessa Gondar, who oversees our budgeting and HR as it relates to the health fee dollars. So again, these are just people that, if I'm not available, please know that my team members are available to you if you have any direct questions about services or recommendations or ideas. Certainly I try to be as available as I can for students, but these are your lead contacts for anything specifically related to their offices as well. So I wanted to spend some time and drill down on where your health fee dollars go to, because I think this is one of the major questions that we get asked a lot. So each of you pay $93.69 per semester. It's the only student fee that's charged by semester. All of your other fees are charged by credit. So those, approximately 94 bucks are divided amongst a lot of offices here. So it goes, we stretch it pretty far. So obviously at the top, it's enrollment based, obviously, because it's a some per semester fee. So our budget will vary every semester, but on average, it's about $14 million all in. But off the top, we give our money to the Disability Resource Center and rec sports, also known as athletic training, for those of you that maybe play intramural sports and have used their services in the rec center. Because those are standalone units that don't report to me. So their budget gets allocated first. And then the remaining money, which again, depending on the semester, is approximately about 12 million, will get split between student health and wellness and the student health clinics. So a little bit of history. Back in 2015, the Board of Trustees decided to merge all clinical services for the university under one entity, being FIU Health, which is led by Dr. Eneida Roldan. Some of you might have seen her in a lot of videos and emails regarding COVID-19, because that's infectious disease is one of her specialties. So she oversees the community clinic, our international programs, the student clinics, etc. So still funded by the health fee, it's just managed by a different entity. So that is on the right side. So student clinics and the pharmacy are under her purview. Now moving under my direct supervision is the student health and wellness areas, which I referenced in the last slide. The only difference is the yellow boxes being Dean of Students and Conduct and Academic Integrity, because those are ENG and ANS funded units. They do not receive any health fee dollars. So for those of you that don't know, ENG is basically our operating budget from the state, and ANS fees are the student fee that's managed by student government. So Conduct does get a piece of the ANS budget. I get a lot of questions as to, well, you know, why is the Dean of Students and Conduct like under health and wellness? Like, what's that about? That goes back to our dimensions of wellness, right? If we want to think about your physical wellness, you know, and those of you that are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy, right? Safety is number one, to keep people safe and healthy. So from a safety perspective, right, the code of conduct is really meant to keep our students protected from one another, you know, physically and emotionally in some senses, depending on, you know, on that violation of the code. So because of that reason, we felt it was important to merge it under student health and wellness. Again, keeping in mind that we are trying to address the student as a whole and not work in silos. So this is, again, a quick overview of how your health fee dollars are given out. On the, and when I finish the presentation, if anybody has a question, I can put the direct link in the chat. But we do have a brochure on our website that delineates specifically all of the services that are free and included in the student health fee and those that are charged for. Most of the ones that are charged for fall under the clinics. And it's things like specialized testing, you know, like things like STD testing, those types of things that just cost a little bit more money. It's still mostly, you know, cheaper. We try to compare to market. But you know, it was really important to offer those services even though they're not free, because we know that some students don't have insurance, or it might be difficult for them to get to their primary care physician that they or their parents have. So those are some things that are charged, and then a few things under the Healthy Living program, like you know, if you want an extended massage, for example, right? So a basic massage is free, but if you want like a full hour to enjoy your peace and quiet, you know, you would be charged for that. So very few things are come out of pocket. A lot of things are covered by your health fee dollars. But I just wanted to give everyone an overview of that. During this time, I do want to emphasize that it's almost like 98% of our services are still being offered to the students, regardless if we are shut down. So the only things that we have not been able to provide are those that you physically need contact with someone, right? So our biofeedback with CAPS obviously cannot be provided, because those are things that need to be like placed on your nervous system to have the evaluation completed. And obviously things like the massage, the acupuncture, because, you know, you need to kind of be with somebody for that. Our team has been doing great. Even our masseuse, you know, posted something on Zoom a few weeks ago about giving yourself like self massages. It was pretty insightful. So we are trying our best, but all of our other services have been accommodated to this virtual environment. So we are trying our best to still offer everything that we would normally offer on campus to you during this time, and we will continue to adapt to this new normal as we learn more about when we will be able to see you in person. And I believe this is my last slide. So really, you know, after my first year, right, it was a lot of evaluation. It was a lot of understanding, trying to figure out where the gaps were, trying to think through how we can re-envision this department, you know, as this new cohesive unit. So really, these are like the 5 areas that I have been focusing on. Obviously, I showed you the mission statement. Again, that's a living, breathing statement that we are working on, and we are continuing to be open to feedback on that. I showed you the organizational structure, so we're pretty settled on that. I discussed the health fee budget, which again has its own limits because it is enrollment based, right? So what's scary for us right now, to be very candid, is the unknown of what's going to happen next academic year, right? So right now our enrollment trends are doing pretty well, but you know, the longer we go without coming back to campus, and as cases increase, we recognize that some students and parents might have concerns with allowing their children to come back for classes. So certainly if enrollment goes down, our budget's going to go down, which that's going to affect you know, available services. So we are trying to think through all of those mitigation options at the moment. Data needs are really important to me. Coming from the president's office, I have a very political and economic mind framework. So I have been challenging my team to be able to analyze all of their utilization of services to make sure that we are actually giving the students what they want and what they need. You know, if that means hiring another person in a specific department or reducing services in a specific department because it's no longer needed, right? Everything needs to be driven by the data. So that's something that has been very important to me in my decision making. And then lastly, the marketing and outreach goals is something that I have heard a lot about from the student body. I recognize that our website, not so good. Social media, there's a lot of accounts right now. You know, so it's really hard for students to find valuable information at the moment. So we have some ideas, you know, brewing. Again, it is budget dependent, so I'm kind of waiting on the outcome of our upcoming budget year. But some things that we've already started, and hopefully all of you have read, is we started a new student health and wellness resource guide, which goes out on the 15th of every month. So we've sent out, April was the first one, so we've sent out 3 already. Please, if you have any ideas or feedback, things that you feel should be included in that resource guide, the guide's for you, not for me, right? So please email me with any ideas or questions that you might have so we can make sure that we include that for you. And like I said, we are working on an overhaul of the website. That hopefully will be much more user-friendly for everybody so that students can find information in an easier fashion. That, unfortunately, because of COVID, you know, a lot of projects are backed up. So we had the intention of launching by August, but probably it's going to look more like November by the end of fall semester now. But certainly I will keep student government posted on that so we can have a big reveal for the students. And then lastly, obviously, as I mentioned with the dimensions of wellness, is just partnering with as many departments as we possibly can to make sure that we are stretching your dollar as best as we can across campus and giving you as many opportunities as we can to make the biggest bang for your buck. And that is my overview, Madam President. I am open to questions from you or from Madam VP or anybody on the call.
Thank you so much, Brenny. You're amazing. We're just opening the floor to any students that have questions. Alex and I have heard this presentation already, and
a few people on the call have heard this already.
yes. So I want to open the floor to students that have any questions for Dr. Garcia or for student government or anything in general that you want to ask.
If no one has a question really fast, I just want to maybe inspire a question or, Brenny, I do have a question for you. So do you have any advice for, let's say, any incoming freshmen about the department or any tips and tricks that you would like to share or you would like new students to really utilize or, you know, I don't know if my question is coming across correctly.
And I'll type them in, or if one of my team members wants to type it in, because I see some of my HLP folks there. Number one is to follow our main social media accounts. So at FIU_VEP, at FIU HLP, and at FIU Panthers Care. We have more than just those, but those are really the 3 main ones that have the most information about events and resources. It's especially now, right, we're trying to meet students where they are, and all of our events are posted on FIU's virtual calendar, but we recognize that the calendar has all of the university events, right, not just ours, so sometimes it could be a little overwhelming to try to find things. So if you follow us on social media, not only will you find out about our events, but you're going to find out about our services. You're going to have opportunity to, live chat with clinicians, learn daily tips and tricks about stress management and sleep hygiene, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is tip number one for incoming students, because right now you're overwhelmed with information. Orientation can be a lot, especially in this virtual world. I can't even imagine trying to process everything right now. So having that resource in your literal back pocket is going to be very helpful to kind of keep on top of everything as your journey of a Panther continues. But also, I really want to encourage all students, not just freshmen, but especially freshmen, to break down your own stigma of what well-being is, right? Especially on the counseling front. I think a lot of students, depending on their family background, have a hard time accepting that counseling is okay. And that talking to somebody does not mean you have a problem. It doesn't mean you have a mental illness. It just means like you might be stressed out that day and you need to talk to somebody that, is unbiased and isn't going to judge you, and you just need to like vent or cry a little bit in somebody's office. Please utilize those resources. You would be shocked at how many of your friends and peers go to CAPS. I promise you. I can't release those names, obviously, but I promise you that more of your colleagues go to counseling than you actually think. More of your colleagues seek services on campus and are trying to find their path forward, whether it's about self-identity or finances or their nutrition, etc. Everyone is struggling in some way or another. So depending on what you are struggling with, we probably have a resource to help you on campus. So please don't be shy. We're friendly, I promise. We are here to help you. You are paying those dollars, so please utilize it.
Hi, Bernie. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah, a student asked a question about the rec and wellness and fitness classes, if you just wanted to expand on that.
Sure. So Rec and Wellness does not report to me. That reports under Sanyo Matthew, who is our AVP for auxiliary services. They have a new title, so don't quote me on his title, but Sanyo Matthew. And we're actually in a national hunt right now for a new director of Rec and Wellness. So he's just interim. But under them, yes, please follow them. I see somebody put, thank you, Selena, put their information, their social media handle also. But yes, even now in COVID times, they are offering tremendous services for students, daily, like high intensity workouts at noon every day, stretching videos, things like that. I even use the rec center. I have a personal trainer there. So there's something for everybody at the rec center. So I know selfishly, I can't wait for the rec center to open up again because it's really hard to work out at home. But yes, even during these times, please follow the rec center. They have their own YouTube channel also, with saved pre-recorded workouts. So if you can't join any of the live events, you have the ability to kind of replay them on their YouTube channel, which has been tremendous.
Jose asked for Dr. Garcia, are there any collaborations or partnerships that your department is hoping to take in part and to help spread the awareness on the different dimensions of wellness outside of orientation?
Yes. So things like partnering. One of our biggest partners right now is the Multicultural Programs and Services team, MPAS, right? So it's Pride Month, right? So we are working with our LGBTQ initiatives office to make sure that we are educating our students. One of the challenges for that community right now is some of them aren't out at home, right? And campus is the only place that they feel safe and welcome. So trying to support those students at home virtually has been very important. So shout out to Dr. Erica Friedman, who is the leader of that office and has been doing a tremendous job. And our Healthy Living program has been partnering with them tremendously to try to offer services to them. Another office we have been partnering with is Student Life and Development. And Jose, I know you're an alum, that's former Campus Life. We elevated the office and we merged some units together. So LCLD partnered with them. Obviously, these are very scary and challenging times with all of the racial injustices that are happening across the country. So we partnered with their offices, you know, specifically like Black Student Union, for example, to be able to offer, HLP offered an activism and well-being Zoom event to talk about the challenges of just, you know, you really want to make an effort to take a stand, but that takes a toll on you, you know, and it's taxing emotionally. And how can you do both effectively? Because you can't pour out of an empty cup, right? You need to make sure that you are okay before you help others. So those are just two examples of offices that we are working with and slowly trying to get our name out there. Also trying to work with niche populations, right? Graduate students have very different needs than undergraduate students. Our professional schools like medicine and law have different needs. Our student athletes have different needs. So another example is we have placed one of our CAPS counselors, and this is obviously pre-COVID, but within the athletics department, right? So she goes there and has standing hours, you know, a few hours a week so that student athletes don't feel like they have to walk across campus and people are going to see them going to the health center and like, whoa, what's happening? You know, what are you doing here? Because there's certainly a stigma within student athletes and the kind of machismo, you know, perspective. So we have partnered with athletics. So those are, I mean, I could sit here for hours talking about all of our partnerships, but those are just three of the things that the team has been just really amazing about thinking outside the box and making sure that we are spreading the word.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or anything else that they want to comment on? Or
Oh, I see. Selena, thank you for the reminder. So on June 30th, and correct me if I'm wrong, Selena, but I believe it's at 2, Healthy Living and our badging team is working, excuse me, we are going to be hosting a financial wellness workshop. So for those of you that don't know, in February, we actually launched a brand new financial literacy portal to all students. We had a pilot program with our student access and success students, which went amazing. And then we were ready to hit send, and then the university shut down. So a big official launch hasn't happened yet. It is live. But on June 30th, you'll have the ability to learn a little bit more about that portal. What's really great about that portal is that you're gonna have access to it for life as a Panther. It's not just while you're a student. And it does everything from being able to budget your grocery shopping list to how do you get a mortgage, you know, when you're in your 20s or 30s, right? So it is an amazing, amazing tool. And that was, we were lucky that it got approved and funded by your student tech fee. So again, your dollars at work. So yeah, if you have time, please join us on June 30th at 2 o'clock. You can find more information on the HLP social media page.
and student government will be reposting it too, so you'll see it on student government's Instagram.
Yes, I know it's one of student government's big priorities to educate students on financial literacy. So thank you for your partnership.
Of course. Well, if there's no more questions, I think that we can close off this forum. Thank you again, Dr. Garcia, for the insightful information. I'm sure a lot of students will look at this video once we post it, and will learn something that they didn't know, which is the goal of this. So thank you so much for participating and for coming out and speaking to students. We appreciate all of your dedication and your drive to helping our student body.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And I'm putting just quickly my email there just in case. And for those of you watching that don't see the chat, my email is daparre, DAPARRE @fiu.edu. I am all ears, and I wish you the best of luck in Summer B for those that are registered. And for everybody else, I really, really hope, and I can't wait to see you in person in fall.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garcia.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.